I'd like to bring the meeting of the Academic and Student Affairs Committee to order. No, but we're glad to have you. Minoka, could you call the roll, please?
Okay, Chair Tripp, I see that you are here. Governor Link? Here. Commissioner Bennett?
Here.
Governor Carter?
Here.
Governor Chopra?
Here.
Governor Frost? Here. Governor Huizenga?
Here.
Governor Webster? Here. And I spoke with Governor Wadley earlier today, and he has been delayed, but he will be here. You do have a quorum, Chair Tripp.
All right, thank you. The next order of business, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the November 7, 2012 committee meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes passed. Item number 3 on the agenda will be a review of academic program approval and program review. Two major functions of academic affairs within state systems and at individual institutions. One of this committee's major responsibilities is the approval of new doctoral program proposals, as well as requests to approve limited access status or excess hours for existing and new bachelor degree programs. Because there are a lot of new members on the committee and who are also new to the board, I have asked Vice Chancellor Ignash to provide a 5-minute overview of the academic program approval processes that are employed in the majority of states and university systems throughout this country, to outline the responsibilities and the regulations that pertain to this committee, and to provide a brief introduction to the board's academic coordination project that was established 2 years ago. Chancellor Ignash, thank you.
Thank you, Governor Tripp. Okay. These program approval and
You're not coming through very loud.
okay, sorry. Is that better?
Not much.
No, it doesn't come through good.
Is that working?
See if you can get it closer to you.
All right. How's that?
Yeah.
These program approval and program review processes I refer to, thank you, as the bread and butter processes of academic affairs. Most systems and states in the country do this. There was a survey, it's about 5 years old, but at that time, 45 of 48 state or system boards conducted approval of at least some programs, as we do at the doctoral level, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And 41 states conducted some form of program review. That means of existing programs, with 33 states reviewing all programs covered under their policies on a regular cycle, such as every 5 or 7 years. This was conducted by SHEO. It was sponsored by SHEO, which is the State Higher Education Executive Officers, and they sort of monitor what's happening nationally within each state. So what we're talking about today are bedrock functions of this committee. There are these areas that go to the Board of Governors for approval. All new degree proposals at the doctoral level, termination of doctoral programs, and substantive revisions to existing doctoral programs. Several years ago, the Board of Governors devolved approval of bachelor's and master's degrees to the local boards of trustees, and they approved those, but there are a couple of areas where those bachelor's programs need to come back to our board after they've been approved by the local boards of trustees for additional approval. And these two areas include exceptions to the 120 credit hours to degree for baccalaureate programs, and then request for limited access status for baccalaureate programs. And on the agenda today is a request for one of those limited access status programs at the University of North Florida. So, for the most part, this committee will be concerned with approval of doctoral programs, but keep in mind that in the baccalaureate degree area, there are 2 instances where you will also be looking at programs. Okay. The local boards of trustees, as I said, has the authority to approve bachelor's, master's, and specialist degrees. All items that come to us, the ones I just went over, need to go to the local boards first. And then anything that's a concentration or a certificate or what we might consider a smaller chunk of offering than a degree program would also go to a local board. The board regulations are on our website and should be easily accessible. One of the most important ones is this board regulation 8.011, which is for authorization of new academic degree programs and other curricula offerings. In that regulation, criteria are spelled out that need to be taken into consideration for any new program. Among the most important of those criteria are need and demand. And that includes both economic/workforce as well as student interest. One of the other areas that is of intense interest is an area of unnecessary duplication. It's an area that the board has had numerous conversations about. And in the conversation later on with Provost Waldrop, I think there may be discussion of necessary versus unnecessary duplication. So please keep that in mind. A couple of the things that we do need to keep in mind is that we as a board need to think about what the system needs. And so when we think about new program approval, where the system needs are has to play into our thinking about new program approval. Institutional readiness is also part of it. That is the institution's ability to offer a quality program. So I've pretty much already gone over this, so the only thing I really need to mention on this slide is the fact that we in Florida have a wonderful program database. It's on our website as well. It's called the State University System Academic Program Inventory, and it lists all the programs that have been approved. It lists the ones that have been terminated. You can search by SIP classification of instructional program area. There are multiple ways to search this. It's an incredible boon for compiling data, which hopefully becomes then information to inform policy. Several other regulations that I just want to point out to you quickly is the regulation regarding academic program termination, which lists criteria and authority for that, and the regulations 8.013 and 8.014, which deal with the 2 areas of baccalaureate overview that the board is concerned with.
Jan, would you just talk a little bit about 8.012? Because many times that comes up about the effect on students. Just broaden that a little bit. That when they terminate a program, you know, that we don't see students hanging out there, what we have to go through the process.
Right. There are a number of reasons why an institution might want to terminate a program. Their enrollments are no longer sufficient to justify the cost of instruction, or it duplicates other offerings, or it's not aligned with the mission of the college, or no longer meets the needs of the citizens of Florida. But institutions are responsible, and this is also a SACS, that's the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. SACS rule is that you have to make arrangements to teach out the students that are in the program. So on our website again in 8.012, there are It spelled out how boards of trustees have to adopt policies and procedures for degree program termination and what should be included in that.
Thank you.
And I'm going to stop at this point because this is the point at which Provost Waldrop will provide information to the board and allow some time for question and answer, and I don't want to cut into his time. But this regulation refers to the academic program coordination process, which the board instituted a couple years ago, November 2011, and that group has been meeting and working and making progress. And so we thought it would be best if Provost Waldrop, who has been one of the leaders in that group, would come and talk to the board directly about that whole process.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Jan. And that is update on the academic program, item 4 on the agenda. And it's an update on the system-wide academic program coordination initiative being led by the Council of Academic Vice Presidents. As Vice Chancellor Ignatz mentioned, the board approved Regulation Point 8.004 in November 2011, which requires that board staff coordinate with the Council of Academic Vice Presidents to conduct an annual review of all current academic degree program offerings, as well as university plans regarding the addition or termination of any degree programs. And the review is expected to inform both institutional and system-level strategic planning. Dr. Tony Waldrop, Provost at the University of Central Florida, is leading a work group created to implement system-wide academic program coordination. And I would like to thank Dr. Waldrop, the Council of Academic Vice Presidents, and members of the work group for their efforts on behalf of the state university system. And I will say this, at first we worried that this group would meet and cover each other's back and that maybe nothing would come out of it, you know. That has not been the case. And I am led to believe that at these meetings there is some stern conversations going on, and the purpose that we wanted is really being effective. Is that true?
Yes, I think it is. Should I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
In fact, I planned to end with that, but since you've given me the lead-in very nicely, I do chair this group on behalf of the
Bring that up to you a little more.
of the CAVP. What I'd like to say is this is the third system-level committee I've been on, each in 3 different states. I've never seen a group that worked as well as this committee. We've learned to trust one another, to criticize, to accept the criticism, and be very professional about it. So thank you very much for allowing me to say that. Jan has already gone over the regulation that covers this, and we certainly use that as a guideline in our process. The things that we've considered are shown on this slide, and some of those certainly have already been mentioned. Duplication of programs at other SUS universities, level of degree production, student demand, workforce and economic development needs. We also ask that there's a statement of the financial resources to create any new program, as well as potential collaborations between universities. The CAVP did appoint a member from each university to be on this committee. I am chairing it. I was also joined by Mark Workman as the co-chair of the committee. We've had, I think, 4 meetings so far, with another one coming up week after next. And what we did the first meeting was really developed a process by which we would review proposed new degree programs, was our starting point. And that program was to look at all programs, not just the doctoral programs that come to the Board of Governors, but also undergraduates and masters. As I'm sure you all know, each university has its own process for looking at those programs prior to it coming forward to either to the Board of Trustees and the Board of Governors. And this is the process I'm going to describe is really a first step coming out of the university before it goes to the Board of Trustees, and then if it's a doctoral program, to the Board of Governors. What we did is to create a form by which we evaluate new programs, The form is rather straightforward, but I thought I would just show it. First of all, the first part of it, it just identifies the degree program, where it's going to be, the zip code, and potential enrollment numbers. We then ask several questions. Obviously, a first one is to have a summary of why this program is necessary. Why do you wish to create this new program? Then we go through the things that I've already mentioned. The demand for the proposed program is shown in question 2. That is the student demand. Workforce demands is question 3. And each of these have additional information that's necessary to answer that question. These forms are filled out and circulated to the full group in advance of our meeting so that there's adequate time for everyone to look at them and form their own analysis. You'll also know that there is a box that asks the institution to state that it has responsibility for funding the program if approved. That actually ended up being a joke on me at the first meeting because I forgot to check that and sign my name to it, so I've not made that mistake subsequently. When we do this, we go through every single program. They're discussed one by one, and they really can fall into 2 categories, where we feel there's no concerns based upon evaluation of all the criteria by which we're judging the programs, or we have concerns. And I'll show you, and those concerns don't say that we don't approve or not, that we approve or not approve the program, but we say these are things that should be addressed when you do the presentation to your Board of Trustees. And obviously, if it's a doctoral degree, that they would be covered when it's brought forward to the Board of Governors. I can't speak for all of the provosts, but I know a number of us have found this to be useful advice from a larger group that can give us feedback in places where we may have had some concerns or we actually may have missed something that came back. So not only is it useful in terms of moving forward, but it's also useful on each of our campuses. What I'm showing you are the programs that we've looked at so far. And this first page largely shows ones that, after discussion by the committee, felt that there were no concerns, that we felt that it was ready to go to the Board of Trustees. We then have some that we did have concerns, and there have been a variety of reasons for that. One of those may be that we felt that it was unnecessary duplication. I will tell you that in many of the cases where we had no concerns, there was some duplication, but we felt that it was, as Jan has called it, warranted duplication, that there was appropriate, there was demand, as well as workforce needs that would say, yes, it's okay if this university and that university has that particular program. So that's the first part of the committee, where we looked at new programs. The CAVP has been looking at existing programs for the last, I've been here in Florida for 3 years, and we look at existing programs to see if there are, for the number of amount of degree production, as well as unnecessary duplication. That's the next task of this work group that I've mentioned. We will be meeting in a couple of weeks, and we'll be going through all of the existing programs as well. There was some backlog of proposed new programs, so we have a few of those. We will also look at our next meeting. As I've said, we see this as a standing committee now, and we will be continuing this process throughout the year. Our expectation is that we will have roughly 4 meetings per year. And then finally, I want to come back to where I started. It really has been a pleasure working with this group. I can understand the concern that we would cover each other's back, and we quickly developed a trust in one another to where we could speak up and our advice would be taken in the appropriate way. So I'm here presenting on behalf of the committee, but it's been a great group to work with.
Thank you. Any questions of Dr. Waldron? Hearing
Thank
none,
you.
thank you very much. Jan, do you have anything further? All set? Okay, thank you very much. The next item is limited access status for the Bachelor of Social Work, number 5 on the agenda, for a Bachelor of Social Work program. The rationale for limited access status is that the program's accrediting body, the Council for Social Work Education, requires the faculty to student ratio to not exceed 1 to 25. high student demand, a limited number of supervised internship experiences, and limited program resources are additional reasons for the request. The request has been approved by the UNF Board of Trustees and reviewed by board staff. Board and university staffs are available to answer any questions. So first of all, do we have any questions regarding this agenda item? Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the Bachelor of Social Work CIP Code 44.0701 to be limited access effective fall term 2013? So moved. Is there a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Governor Cortez Watley, has he joined us yet? Don't see him. Okay. The next item is my closing remarks, and I just want to say before adjourning the meeting that I want to commend President Hitt and the University of Central Florida for their rapid and thorough response to the shooting incident on campus a few weeks ago. And I understand that the President Hitt will be saying a few words on this tomorrow at our full meeting, so we look forward to that. Okay, anything further to come before the meeting? Motion to adjourn? So we stand adjourned. Thank you.